Live from Studio 3K in Rockefeller Center, you're watching Sports Final on NBC for New York. Here's your host, John Chandler.
Well, we were all buzzing about the performance Daniel Jones, the Giants rookie quarterback, put on in that Giants preseason win over the Jets. Kind of on the side, and maybe overshadowed a little bit, was the way Sam Darnold and the Jets played in that. We're going to talk some Jets football right now with Connor Hughes from The Athletic. And Connor, I mean, really, I feel like Daniel Jones came in and all of a sudden we forgot just how good Sam Darnold looked on that first drive.
Look, Sam Darnold pretty much checked all of the boxes, but more so than that, man, is that Darnold did exactly what he's done through training camp to this point, and he carried it over into a game atmosphere and in a game situation. That's really what you want to see in preseason, right? Because when you're going through practices and scrimmages, eventually you see the same defense over and over again. You start to figure some things out, and you piece together good practices in a row, but it's like, okay, well, can he do it in a game? Practice is one thing, can he do it in a game? And he did that against the Giants on Thursday night. You saw his mobility, in which on that long third down conversion to Chris Herndon, he moved around in the pocket, stepped up, found him. You saw his field awareness to kind of move left, look right, and then find Jamison Crowder on that long game for 22 yards. And then obviously you saw him take control of a defense and move around for the touchdown to Crowder as well short. So everything you hope to see from Sam Darnold entering into year two, you did so Thursday night.
He has really found a level of comfort with Jamison Crowder, especially. Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that's what every quarterback needs their go-to guy, right? I mean, that's something that everyone needs. And I think that's what Crowder's starting to develop into. And you look at some of the best offenses in recent memory, they all have that slot receiver that you can go to, right? I mean, Tom Brady has Julian Edelman. Peyton Manning had Wes Welker. The list kind of, Eli Manning had Victor Cruz. And I think that Sam Darnold now has that guy in Jamison Crowder, someone who can kind of work the middle of the field, go beat man coverage, beat zone coverage. And also one thing we've seen in camp and a little bit on Thursday is that Crowder can also go deep, which not all slots can do.
You've got that poise from Sam Darnold that is so evident. Now, a lot of guys have been talking about it throughout camp, and we've seen it in training camp practices, but it's there. It was tangible against a Giants defense that, I mean, really, he shredded them in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, this is a guy that really, I said it before, he checks all the boxes. I mean, whatever you want to see from a quarterback, he does. I mean, he is stoic in his personality, where he is never rattled, never high, never low. He's that flatline personality, very similar to Eli Manning. He can make every throw on the field. In fact, this year, both Darnold said it and head coach Adam Gase that his passes have more zip on them than they did last year. So he's improved his arm strength. He has accuracy that you saw bits and pieces of that last year. You've seen it on a consistent level this year in training camp to fit the balls into the tightest of windows. And then he has what a lot of pocket quarterbacks don't, and that's why he's not really a pocket quarterback, is that deceptive athletic ability and the ability to move around. He can extend plays with his legs. He can pick up first downs with his legs. So he really is a do-it-all quarterback. All he has to do, the number one thing, is cut down on the turnovers. And through camp to this point, I think it's 3 interceptions in team drills, and I think we're on 15, 16-ish practices.
It's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he talked about making one mistake and being able to just turn the page and move on from it and not get trapped up in that mistake and overanalyzing it. Adam Gase clearly loves working with Sam Darnold. I mean, you could hear it, and Adam's not shy about it. He puts his thoughts out there for everyone to hear. But the dynamic between Gase and Sam Darnold is something that is going to be so important for the Jets and how they go forward. I mean, on the surface right now, and it's only one series, it's only one training camp, but it feels like they've got the right match here, doesn't it?
It does, and it seems like it just works. And I don't really have any way to say this is why, but like, you watch the two interact throughout training camp. You watch the two interact throughout their random meetings when they go off on the sideline together. You watch these little things and they just seem to mesh, which is interesting because you look at Adam Gase and he's crazy, right? I mean, you can see he's intense, he's passionate, he's fiery. You see him on the sideline and he's up. I mean, you saw the smelling
he's taking
salt.
smelling salts before kickoff of a preseason game.
That's who Adam Gase is. And then you have Sam Darnold, who's California cool, awesome man, dude, like just totally flatline. But for whatever reason, they work. And I think that the one thing that really showed how well these two work, and Adam Gase referenced this very early in training camp, I think this happened during OTAs or minicamp right around that time, is that he had been kind of taking it easy with Darnold. That when Darnold would make a mistake, he would kind of not baby him, but he wouldn't be as critical. And then one day in minicamp, he lit into him. He was mad, he was angry, and he just went after Darnold. This is not what I'm happy about. I mean, he let him hear it. And Darnold looked around and he goes, boy, it's about time. And I think that just shows that, like, they again, it's yin and yang, opposites attract, but those two guys, they work. And the better that they work together, the Jets could be setting the stage for quite a good decade to come.
Now, there's a big caveat to all of this, and obviously the season goes as Sam Darnold and Adam Gase are able to build it and go. But, I mean, the defensive side of the ball took a big hit today with Jermaine Johnson out with a hamstring injury. As excited as you have to be offensively for the Jets, defensively, I mean, this is a big problem in the secondary.
It hurt. I mean, look, to be honest with you, man, I mean, the secondary wasn't good before this injury. I mean, look, the secondary had their concerns, right, and they had their issues, but it was always, well, you know what, with those three, Jermaine Johnson, Darrell Roberts, Brian Poole, that's probably still an average to slightly below average secondary. But if the Jets can get the pass rush that they believe they can from Quinnen Williams, Leonard Williams, and Henry Anderson and push the pocket from the middle, a poor secondary's best friend is a good pass rush, because then suddenly the quarterback's off balance. You don't have to worry about covering forever, all that fun stuff. Well, that was the case with the Jets' three starting cornerbacks staying healthy. You now take away one and arguably the best of a mediocre group. And Kyron Brown is now the Jets' starting cornerback outside. And look, we don't know the severity of Jermaine Johnson's hamstring injury yet. He's going to get additional tests run and MRI, all that stuff. But Gase seemed a little bit more concerned than he has with other injuries he's talked about. Yeah, so it certainly does not seem like this is just a minor little tweak and he's going to be back out there on Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. Not to really kind of beat down on the Jets here, but the other big problem that may or may not have now solved itself is Chandler Cannizzaro looked awful, looked like a guy who was headed out the door anyways.
That man's out of lives.
I mean, I guess he did them a favor and decided to retire on his own. What do they do with this kicking situation?
Well, right now they kind of put the stopgap fix in there in Taylor Bertolette. He's a guy who was last in the AAFL before the Alliance of American Football, before it kind of folded.
We even remember that stuff?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was a fun month. Before that, he was with the Jets in training camp, and he kicked. You know, he actually kicked pretty well for the Jets last year, but they ended up going with Jason Myers because Myers then came in, and obviously, look, they made the right decision. Myers was an all-pro. Yeah, all-pro, Pro Bowler, all that stuff.
But they didn't want to pay him, and now they're paying for that.
Yeah, and now it's a concern. Now, what I think the Jets are most likely to do is that there are, for whatever reason, the Jets did not carry two kickers throughout their training. Almost all the time that happens. For whatever reason, it did not happen this year with the Jets. They just handed the job to Chandler Catanzaro. But what I believe the Jets will do here is Taylor Bertolette's going to be the guy right now. They might add another body. I mean, they had other guys in with that workout on Saturday as well, or Friday, I'm sorry, as well. But they can... Now they will probably monitor the other 31 teams in the NFL. Several of them have two kickers on the roster, and they'll see who shakes free, because that happens every year, is that a team has a veteran kicker, they have the young kicker, and then they pick which one they want, and usually a handful of very good veterans or a handful of potential promising youngsters shake free on the waiver wire, and the Jets will go grab one of them. I'd be surprised if Bertolette's the guy on week one.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way.
Yeah,
all right. Before we get out of here, you cover the Jets, but you got to look at Daniel Jones in that first preseason game. From a guy who doesn't see him every day, what was your impression of the rookie quarterback?
I was impressed. And, I think that honestly one of the big reasons why the hype train kind of chugged along with such amazing steam the last couple of days is because since the Giants turned in that draft card with the 6th overall pick with Daniel Jones' name on it, this kid has been shredded by fans, by media, by analysts, by talking heads, by you, by me, by everyone has shredded the Giants' decision to draft him. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to go back and look at my tweets on draft day, but the fact is this kid, you basically set the kid up where, when he gets on the field, he's going to fumble 6 snaps, throw 7 interceptions, and look like he's never held a football before in his life. Instead, he took the Giants right down the field, albeit against the Jets' second-team defense, and threw a touchdown. And those passes that he threw were remarkably impressive. So I think what you had was a quarterback that has been beat down so much where everyone just expected him to fail, who then played remarkably well, and it was kind of like it amplified even that good performance. But now, again, look, this is New York, so everything's going to be lit up.
One series.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it, is that this is just one series. It was just 5 passes that the guy threw. Let's see it against starters. Let's see it on 2 or 3 series in a game, and then eventually let's see him do it when he gets a couple starts.
As Pat Shurmur says, slow your roll, everybody.
Exactly.
Connor Hughes from The Athletic. Thanks for swinging by, talking some Jets with us.
Absolutely.
Good to have you. All right, the Giants continue the preseason this Friday night against the Bears. And, of course, you can watch Big Blue right here on NBC4 New York. Starts at 7:30. We are proud to be the exclusive home of Giants preseason football. Now, as we go to break, it is time for the Ford drive of the game. And in the final round of the Northern Trust at Liberty National, Patrick Reed took the lead on 14. He opened up a 2-shot lead on 16, and then he held on for dear life over the final 2 holes to win by a single stroke. He moves to second now in the FedEx Cup standings, trailing only Brooks Koepka. For great deals on Ford's full line of trucks and SUVs, visit your local Ford store or check out buyfordnow.com today.